scholars! Here's our video for today. It's time to start a brand new unit all about one of my favorite things, the American Revolution. I love the American Revolution, and I'm so excited I still get to share this unit with you. So our very first lesson on the American Revolution is called The New World. So let's go ahead and get started learning all about the American Revolution. I emailed to mom and dad, or grandma or grandpa, or whoever, these 2 pages. They say 10.1 at the top. These are the 2 pages you'll need to complete after you finish this lesson. So 10.1, the New World. Those are the 2 pages you need to look for. If you're able to print them out and write on them at home, perfect, awesome, amazing, please do. If you can't, that's okay. Just find a blank piece of paper and write on those instead. But again, write 10.1 at the top so you know and I know which lesson it is, okay? Here we go. We're going to go over our objective. We're going to talk about the new vocabulary words. We're going to do a read aloud. I have 3 quick check your understanding questions. And then, of course, I'll go into the packet work, okay? Just like always. Objective, we learn all about it. I can identify the 13 colonies on a map and write a sentence about them. All right, just like we're in class, right? All right, time for our vocabulary words. The very first word you need to know is colony. The very first word you need to know is colony. A colony is a region or place ruled by a faraway country. A colony is a region or place ruled by a faraway country. New York was a British colony in America before the American Revolution. The next word you need to know is founded. The next word you need to know is founded. Say that real quick. Good. Founded means set up or established. Founded means set up or established. UPrep was founded to help scholars achieve their dreams of going to college. The next word you need to know is freedoms. The next word you need to know is freedoms. Say that real fast. Freedoms are rights or liberties. Freedoms are rights or liberties. The Bill of Rights guarantees certain freedoms for all citizens, including the right to vote. The next word you need to know is government. The next word you need to know is government. Now, this one's a little bit longer of a definition, so hang in there with me, okay? I'll read it through with the underlines and then I'll read it through again, all right? A government is the group of people who make decisions and laws for a larger group of people. The government is the group of people who make decisions and laws for a larger group of people. The government took action to keep people from getting sick during the coronavirus. The next word you need to know is settlements. The next word you need to know is settlements. The next word is awesome. Not to be confused with sediments. Settlements are places where most people live. Settlements are places where most people live. The English had settlements throughout North America. Who's there? I bet you are. As you may remember from kindergarten, there were tribes of Native Americans who lived in what is now the United States. Some of those tribes are still here today. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to name as many of those tribes as you remember. Ready? Go. All right, 10 seconds up. How many did you get? Have mom or dad text me how many tribes you got, okay? In kindergarten, you also learned about Christopher Columbus, who traveled by ship to North America. Do you remember anything about his travels? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Name one thing you remember about Christopher Columbus. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, moving on. After Columbus's voyage, more and more groups of people from various countries in Europe decided to make a trip across the Atlantic Ocean to explore North America. One of these groups were from England, and they landed at Plymouth Rock. Do you remember who they are? That's right, it was the Pilgrims. Today, you're going to hear more about the Pilgrims as well as two other early English colonies, Roanoke Island and Jamestown. Now you're probably thinking, Miss Colma, what do these colonies, what do these early settlements have to do with the American Revolution? What we're going to do in today's lesson is learn about what was the people who moved here and their descendants, and that'll tell us why they rebelled, okay? So today is setting the stage for what happened and what caused the revolution. A couple things to remember. We live in the city of Columbus. Columbus is in the state of Ohio. Ohio on this map is bright red. Ohio is just one state in the country of the United States. There are 49 other states that are part of this country, but this country didn't always exist. In this unit, you're going to learn how this country came to be. All right, so I want you to show me your strong, strong star as best you can. If mom, dad, grandma, grandpa sends me a picture, that's awesome. So we're going to hear about some other places in North America. I want you to listen to hear more about the English settlements in North America. Show me your best GLP. Even if I can't see it, I know a lot of you have really strong GLP. This is the North American continent where we live today. The red part is the United States. Many hundreds of years ago, life in North America was very different than it is today. The first people who lived in North America are known as Native Americans. The Native Americans lived in groups called tribes in different regions of North America. There were no stores like we have now, so they had to find or make most of the things they needed to survive, whether it was food to eat, clothing to wear, or a house in which to live. Hundreds of years later, a European explorer by the name of Christopher Columbus sailed and reached North America, but that was not where he had planned to go. Do you remember what Columbus was looking for when he first set sail from Europe? I'm going to give you 5 seconds. 4, 3. What was he looking for? If you said he was looking for spices, gold, and other treasures, you were absolutely correct. Columbus set sail from Europe, hoping to find a quicker way to reach India and China, where spices, gold, and other riches were plentiful. But in 1492, when Columbus actually reached land after he sailed the ocean blue, he and his crew did not arrive in India or China. They landed instead in North America, where they met the native people who lived there. Do you remember what they are? Do you remember who these people are? 3, 2, 1. Yeah, they're Native Americans. Do you remember why Columbus called them Indians? Do you remember why he called them Indians? If you said he called them Indians because he thought he reached India, you are correct. After Columbus, sailors from different countries in Europe traveled to North America. Portugal, the Dutch Republic, which we now call the Netherlands, Spain, France, and England all sent explorers to North America, continuing to hope to find riches and goods that they might bring back to trade and sell in Europe. Everyone was interested in this new world. European explorers called North America the New World because it was new to them. Do you know what this is? That's right, it's Thanksgiving. The English did not want to just visit the Americas. They were interested in starting settlements in order to live there. When people start settlements, they move to a new place to live. They wanted a place for their people to spread out from their small island country, England, across the Atlantic Ocean. You probably remember that English pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock in the 1600s, about 100 years after Columbus. The Pilgrims had great difficulty adjusting to their new life in the New World because it was very different from the city life they knew in Europe. The Native Americans that the Pilgrims met helped them survive, especially during that first year. The Pilgrims were not the only people to start settlements in North America. In fact, before the Pilgrims ever arrived at Plymouth, so Massachusetts, I'm going to circle Massachusetts in green. So Plymouth is here in Massachusetts, okay? Before Pilgrims ever arrived at Plymouth, other English men and women had settled in 2 other places. The first English colony was on Roanoke Island, which is just off of North Carolina. So, North Carolina, I'm going to circle in red. This is North Carolina. They probably settled Roanoke Island somewhere over here, all right? The next colony they set up is the colony of Jamestown, which is in the state of Virginia, what we know as Virginia today. I'm going to circle Virginia in black. So, here's the state of Virginia. All right, so the green circle is Massachusetts. That's where the Pilgrims are. That's where the Plymouth Rock is. The 2 red circles are North Carolina. The smaller one is where the colony of Roanoke was founded. And then the black circle is Virginia, where we have Jamestown. A colony is a place that's ruled by a faraway country. So the English men and women who moved to and settled Roanoke Island and Jamestown did not make their own rules or laws. The English king and government ruled the colonies. A government is a group of people who make decisions and laws for the people they represent. So the government all the way across the Atlantic in Great Britain was making all of the decisions and laws for the people living where I circled here in the United States. The first child born in North America to English parents was born on Roanoke Island. Her name was Virginia Dare. In this picture, the English settlers are watching the baptism of Virginia Dare. A baptism is a Christian religious ceremony. We don't really know what happened to Virginia Dare or the other English settlers living on Roanoke Island because they mysteriously disappeared several years after they arrived. For this reason, Roanoke Colony is often called the Lost Colony. The colony was not really lost, but the colonists were never seen again. Some people think that life was so difficult on Roanoke Island that the colonists left their settlement and went to live with some of the Native American tribes in the area. Some people think that the Roanoke settlers may have gone to live with the Native Americans since they might have run out of food. So everyone living at Roanoke just vanished. We don't know where they went. They didn't really leave any sort of clues as to where to find them. So all of these people just vanished. It's a mystery to this day. It was another 20 years after the Roanoke colony before the English tried to settle again in North America. When they did, 100 English men and boys sailed up the river from the Atlantic Ocean and named the river James in honor of the King of England. The settlement they founded was called Jamestown. Like the other English settlers, the people who came to Jamestown met the Native Americans who were already living in this area. The English wanted to trade goods with them and were especially interested in acquiring the Native Americans' beaver and deer skins to send back to England, where they'd be able to sell them for a really high price. So, 20 years after Roanoke, 100 men and boys made a new settlement called Jamestown in Virginia. They wanted to acquire goods to trade like fur and treasure, and they were really looking to set up a place where they could live the rest of their lives. As time passed, more and more settlers from Great Britain arrived in North America. At this time, many years after the first English colonists arrived in North America, the country they came from was now known as Great Britain or Britain. All up and down the east coast of North America, they formed more colonies, where they started new lives for themselves. By 1732, there were 13 colonies in North America. Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. So that's a lot to go through. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a yellow dot on each colony as I name it, okay? So here we go. So Massachusetts is here and here. We also have New Hampshire right here. We also have New York right here. We have New Jersey down here. We have Connecticut right here. Rhode Island is this tiny little spot right here. This is Pennsylvania. This is Delaware. This is Maryland. This is Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. So those are the 13 colonies that were established by the late 1730s. The people living in the 13 colonies in North America were ruled and controlled by the king and government of Britain. The British did not accomplish the hard work of setting up colonies all by themselves. They especially needed lots of helpers to clear and farm the land. First, they encouraged indentured servants to come work in America. These indentured servants had to work only for the English colonists for a certain agreed upon number of years without pay. After that time, they were free to live and work where they wanted and to be paid for that work. As the British colonists grew, more and more workers were needed. Before long, European ships brought enslaved people taken from the continent of Africa to work in America. You can see the route from Africa to North America here on the map. So, right here, this black arrow shows the route, the journey that they had to take on those ships. These enslaved people were forced to come to North America, where they did not share the freedoms, which are rights and liberties, enjoyed by the colonists. They could not leave their farms without permission, and it was against the law for anyone to teach them to read or write. As the colonists settled in the colonies, more changes were going to come. And that's our read aloud for today. So, as it said, the colonies from the 1600s to the 1720s grew, they expanded. There were more and more people. There was more and more work. So, at this point, that's it for our read aloud. Now we understand how America looked before the Revolution started. Here are some check my understanding questions. Feel free to pause the video. Make sure you take time to talk these over with mom, dad, grandpa, grandma, someone in your home. I have my phone right here. I'm going to be setting a timer for 30 seconds for each question. So make sure that you have those 30 seconds so that you can talk about these, okay? So, all right, so this is what the timer is going to look like, okay, guys? Making sure you don't see a glare, okay? Here we go. The first one, oh, this one you will need about 10 seconds, okay? You can just shout this one out. English pilgrims settled Plymouth Colony. Name the other two colonies settled in North America before Plymouth. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to name the other two. If you said Jamestown and Roanoke, you were correct. Now this one I'm going to give you the 30 seconds. I want you to explain why Roanoke is called the Lost Colony. Why is Roanoke called the Lost Colony? 30 seconds. Why is it called the Lost Colony? I may cut this a little short because this is pretty quick once you get it. Why is Roanoke called the Lost Colony? 10 seconds left. And that's the time. If you said it's called the Lost Colony because everyone vanished, we have no idea what happened to them, you're absolutely correct. Who governed or ruled the 13 British colonies? The king or the people who lived there? This one should only take you about 10 seconds. Who ruled the colonies? The king or the people who lived there? That's right, the king, the parliament, all the way across the ocean. Now, here's your first packet page. I want you to color the 13 original colonies on the map below. If you want to go back in the video and review what each of these colonies was called, I think that's a really awesome idea. So you're going to color these colonies in. Your other packet page, I want you to use the lines below to write 1 to 3 sentences about what you learned in the read aloud. Some of the words you can use in your sentences are things like settlements, founded, colony, and government. So those are some ideas to help get your sentences rolling, okay? Here's your 2 restates. This is a good point to pause the video to make sure you write these restates down. One thing I learned about the colonies is and at the top of your packet pages are those exact words that I went over. So if you want to go, one thing I learned about the colonies is they were settlements where people lived. I have settlements at the top for you. If you're writing 2, 3, even more, another thing I learned about the colonies is Another thing I learned about the colonies is So here's your 2 restates. Again, pause this video, copy your restates. I'm interested in your answers, okay? And that's it for today's lesson. We now have an understanding of how those colonies got settled, of how they got established. Next time, we're going to dive into the events leading up to the Revolution. We're going to go into the years right before and talk about what happened in some of the colonies that led to the colonies having a rebellion. So really exciting stuff coming down the pipe. If you have mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, someone, text me some of your answers. I'll put them in later PowerPoints and say, one of my favorite Scholar answers I received for this written assignment was this. So have mom, dad, grandma, grandpa text me pictures of some of your answers, and that way I can see what you have to say. Even though I can't read it for myself in person or mark your paper with a smelly star, I can still make sure that you're getting the information you need, okay? Stay safe, stay healthy. I miss you all to pieces, and I'll see you next time.